were kind of just stuck at like 25 to 30K a month. I know we had to make a change. So in December we hit 70K, but right before Christmas, it was six figures. That was my goal at the beginning of the year. Mason played a huge part in that.
Hey Theo, how's it going? Appreciate you hopping on. It's truly been a long time coming. I think started in the Twitter DMs a long time ago, and we finally made it. Summer, fall 2024 is when you joined MedAds at Scale. So it's been a long journey of both of us on Twitter and now to where we are now. I appreciate you taking the time to hop on. But if you could just share with everyone who you are, what your brand is, and what you guys sell.
Absolutely. My name's Theo. I own TrapxJitsu, and basically it's just jiu-jitsu, MMA gear, apparel, and we're trying to combine that and streetwear and really, make a staple in that niche in specific.
Can you share with the audience, where you were before joining MedAds at Scale, revenue-wise, and kind of where you are now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we started to turn things up last May, just bigger inventory, bulk orders. We were kind of just doing a drop model, and we were kind of just stuck at like 25 to 30K a month for like 3-4 months in a row. And, I know we had to make a change, whether it's like ads, inventory, running evergreen products, change the whole model in general. And I knew Mason was the guy to hit up. I've seen his results on, some other brands of people that I know, and it was just worth it at the end.
Awesome. And you and I had chatted a bit before, kind of like, oh, you're like, think I'm ready to kind of take it evergreen, right? Which I think is huge for brands that do the drop model. That's a huge kind of step in evolution if you kind of want to get to that next level. And so, yeah, you mentioned you're kind of hovering at 20, 30K. Like where has the growth been, or like how far have you kind of come from there? Like what numbers are you now hitting?
Yeah, I mean, so our first month was October, right?
I think it was
Or was it September?
Yeah.
So first month, September, Mason reviewed basically, all of our email flows, our Facebook ads that we're currently running, what works, what doesn't work, what we need to change. And yeah, I told him the plan. I said, I want to do evergreen as well as, doing drops every month. And he said, that's fantastic. It's a great idea. So we just helped us as much as possible with that, whether it was upgrading the email flows, changing some pixel stuff in Facebook. And then he added a bunch of interest audiences and I think prospect or DPA ad sets as well. And, we hit our first 40K month and finally got over that hump. Ever since then, we've just been going up. It's freaking crazy.
Yeah. And then what, if you're comfortable sharing it, can you let the group know, like, I know you hit your biggest month, I believe it was December, right? And so
Yeah.
What did you guys hit in December?
So in December, we hit 70K, but from Black Friday to like right before Christmas, it was six figures. So that was like insane to see. That was my goal at the beginning of the year, find a way to do that. And, Mason played a huge part in that, especially Black Friday. Just, I think we had 3 or 4 group meetings prior to that, just preparing for everything. And, it paid off tremendously. We hit beyond our targets. So.
Oh, I appreciate it. And I think the main thing is what I love about you, and even before you're in the program, like you and I had a relationship where you would hit me up.
Yeah.
I think it was even before I maybe even launched the program. You and I had gotten on calls just because we were both on the similar stage. I hadn't even launched my program. You were new to your brand, and I wanted to help you. You wanted to help me, and so it's cool that we both kind of blossomed out, and now you're able to help people with your story, which is so powerful. But can you kind of describe, like what were the main challenges you faced before, joining MedAds at Scale, when you're kind of stuck at that 20?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said before, we wanted to introduce more evergreen products. We were just ordering stuff, let it sell out, and then kind of just buying a whole new set in bulk again in terms of inventory. So Mason really helped us out. Like, hey, you guys need to try different creatives, try different ad sets, find what works and double down. I mean, it sounds simple, but he kind of gave us the formula and we found the creatives that work. We found the flat laid ads that work. And now we do that for every drop. We do that for all of our evergreen products. And I get disappointed if we don't hit like a 3.5 ROAS in a day, where previously I'd be after a drop day, if we broke 2, and now that's like just the bare minimum now is just different level. And that's because of Mason joining those weekly meetings. We were just running mock-up ads, like just literally putting together a rash guard on Photoshop and then putting it out there. And it was doing well in terms of like drop days, but there's no longevity in that. So we introduced video ads, we introduced flat lays, we still do the mock-up ads, which do well. And Now we have like 4 to 5 different creatives that are consistent, and that we can just, move those onto new products, and it just works. Like we have the formula now, and that's because of Meta Ads at Scale.
Well, appreciate all the love. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I don't want to take all the credit. You've done, majority, and your work ethic too. I think that one thing that can't, I want to praise you for is that you work harder probably than anybody in the group. And your progress, how fast you've moved, when you joined and then into 6 figures so quickly was just insane. And but on that note, how what would you describe like the time commitment of someone, of joining the program? How much time does it take per week?
Yeah, I mean, we have 1 hour weekly phone call, and you learn a bunch in terms of creatives, different ad sets, and then you just basically apply that to your business. I mean, it's like the solutions that Mason provides is simple, and you're like, shit, like I should have done that. And he kind of cuts out the mistakes and trims the fat off of like your current model, and it works tremendously. So it's not a lot of time, and you should see results right away if you listen, but you just got to put your pride aside and be like, all right, I'm going to try something new, and it fucking works.
Yeah, and again, that's how even the guarantee of adding to the program too, if we cannot at least double your brand, from where you're at, we'll continue to help you in the program, and
Exactly.
It hasn't really been an issue, especially for people who put in the work, right? Everyone's having a good time. And so now, based on kind of what's happened, the past 6 months, more or less in the program, I mean, how, where do you see TrapxJitsu the next 6 to 12 months, by the, I guess the end of 2025, where do you see the brand, just on your vision for the brand, where you think it's going to be, and also like revenue growth, like where you think the brand's going to go?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of revenue growth, I want to hit consistent 6-figure months. I want to be a 7-figure brand. It's just me and my cousin running this, and we work our asses off. So we definitely think we can get there. I mean, we have the formula. It's just time to freaking double down on everything. Double down on inventory, ad spend, test different creatives, continue to grow, continue to learn. And, that's really our plan. That's what we want to do. Drop different products too. We want to, right now we're just dropping rash guards and shorts, sweatshirts, sweatpants, and we want to venture off into maybe some gym gear, trying to get down some other niches, maybe skating, surfing. So, we're excited, and we're willing to test new things and just double down on what works.
Yeah, your designing, I think, is just next level. And I love whenever you have new collections dropping, you teasing it. I just love to see it. And so I have no doubt you guys will hit 7 figures this year. I mean, super excited to see where you guys take it. I know you've been kind of debating even, are you going to leave your 9 to 5, that whole thing too, which, do you see that in the future for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I just got to, finish off paying this wedding, and then, it's off to the races. That's really the main goal right now, but yeah, definitely within the next 2-3 months, I'd say. It's got to get the ball and fucking do it, bro.
Yeah.
I've seen other people do it. No reason I can't, but I think that'll take us to the next level too. If I'm able to focus 8-9 hours a day on just designing and talking to suppliers, like that's high leverage shit right there. I'm willing to do it soon for sure.
Yeah, and I was in a similar situation. A lot of people in the group where it's a little daunting, and then when you do it, you're like, oh my gosh, I should have done this like a year ago, right? Obviously, hindsight's 2020, but I know you're a believer in God too. God's gonna have your back too, just like you had mine. And I have like I said, no doubt you guys are gonna crush it. Once you guys do take that next step. So, do you have any before you joined Meta Ads at Scale? Did you have any misconceptions before working with me, or anything that surprised you that when you started working directly with me one-on-one?
I thought it was just going to be just mainly Facebook ads, Meta ads. That's it. But before you go into the program, Mason literally goes through all your Shopify data, what works, what doesn't work, emails. And he kind of puts together a checklist of things to like what you're doing well, what you need to improve on, what you need to, implement into your business. I was not expecting that. I thought it was just Facebook ads, that's it. But he really covers everything in terms of what you need to improve on in the business, not just Meta. So that was huge for us. I mean, we introduced website flows, more emails, email at least once a week, SMS at least once a week, and just the whole marketing picture in general. That helped us out tremendously as well.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I need to talk about more because Meta ads, it's a majority of the program for sure. But the market, as the Twitter people say, the market has sophisticated, right? And people ads just aren't enough anymore. You gotta have the whole package, right? And so
like the fucking pop-up, like the thresholds that you were kind of giving us, like, hey, like, you need at least like a 7 to 10% sign up rate. Ours was like a 2%. I'm like, all right, what the fuck is going wrong with that? Why isn't ours as high as what it should be or other stores? Because I never looked into that. We got a bunch of stuff on our plate. I got to focus on designs, and now I got to focus on this. So yeah, I mean, we got it up to double digits now. We got to changed out the design, and that's just one of many examples of things we had to improve on, which led to our 10K jump in revenue upon like initially joining your group. So
yeah, little adjustments, right? It's like because it's even I guess the more brands that I work with, the more I guess bird's eye view I have over kind of, hey, what's working everywhere, and I'm able to kind of like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. If you do this, it's most likely gonna push you forward, and
yeah, details, bro. It's everything.
Yeah. So last thing I would like asking, if someone was on the fence about joining MetaAds Scale or working with me, like what would you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be like, you need a teacher. I try to relate it to fighting or even like surfing. Like imagine, like you surf. Imagine just going out into the fucking open ocean and trying to learn to surf by yourself. You never freaking hopped on a board before. You'd be lost. Like you'd be like, what the hell do I do? You need a mentor, you need a teacher to show you what to do, and you can't go into this blindly, especially if you're a beginner, you're a newcomer in ecom. Like you need someone to tell you like, hey, this is how you do things. And then, 2-3 months with this person being your mentor, you learn a bunch of stuff, you learn what works, what doesn't work. And then eventually you're able to, go out on your own and freaking do your thing. That's, if I was on the fence or if someone was on the fence, that's what I would tell them. You need a mentor. Even if you think you know a lot, Dunning-Kruger effect, you fucking don't know a lot. There's black belts in the meta ads game. Mason's one of them. You got to learn from the black belts. It's true.
I always like to share with the group as well. Is like I get coaching myself for how to make my program better, how to be a better agency owner, right? I think, like I say, Michael Jordan, Kobe, the best of the best, they all have coaches, and so it's not a bad thing to have a coach. It's actually smart. It's a really smart thing to have a coach.
Absolutely. You got to put your pride aside. I tried to figure it out for months on end on my own. And I was like, once I joined the group, I was like, I'm missing all this shit that I could have saved time on months ago. I could have been hitting these marks months ago if I just freaking joined the program. If you join it, you'll learn a bunch of shit. And yeah, I mean, even Meta, the Facebook, the algorithm's always changing. So joining these weekly calls, it's good to, catch up on what's changing in Facebook, what's working, what's not working. How are Facebook ads performing for other people in the group? That's a big thing as well. You get to see the results based on other brands in the group that are very successful. So, and then you could apply those things that work into your brand. So you don't just learn from Mason, you also learn from the other people in the group too.
Yeah, I think that's awesome too. The community's gotten big. I think we have close to 70 brands now, which is wild for me to say.
Are you serious?
Yeah. That's
dude.
It's crazy. Yeah. So last question for you is just, what's your favorite part about the program and, working one-on-one with me?
Probably, if I have a question, the communication's literally within 30 minutes. For an example, I was planning on running 15 to 20K days on Black Friday in terms of ad spend. My shit was locked at 4K. I was fucking panicking. I was like, I ordered all this freaking inventory, contacted Mason. He got things sorted with his connection, some mafia shit. My stuff was bumped up literally within 2 hours. I was like, but that's just one example. Like the communication with the coaches is like undeniable. Like you're gonna get answers right away. They're gonna want to try to find a solution because they don't just want your money. They want to see you succeed. At the end of the day, they care about the people in the group and they want to see you fulfill whatever your goals are. So, that's one of the biggest things for me, communication and executing an idea. That's the biggest thing. So yeah, I would say that for sure.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, I truly do care about everyone in the group. Literally, my dreams come true if your guys' dreams come true. My success really is your guys' success. And so this program itself is a dream come true to me, I'm just following God's plan and helping everyone else get where they need to go. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing that I'm able even to have this program. So I appreciate all your support for sharing your story. It's going to help so many other brands. And so thank you so much, Theo. God bless. And, we'll talk to you very soon.
God bless, brother. All right, man. Take it easy.
Take care. Bye.